Alright, come join Kyle, John, and David as they go through what's on the playlist. Find out what's everyone's favourite at Chicken Soup for the Soul Entertainment. We have a few segments, to be honest. In and out points, no celebs and the gossip. Back in time where we talk about the big M's, coming attractions, what the queue. Quick checks, who'll be laughing? You abundantly. Welcome to Dual Redundancy.
Yes, welcome to Dual Redundancy, the only podcast where you can hear all latest in television, entertainment news with too many else with exactly the same opinions. I'm one of those hosts, David Allen, and another one is...
Berwick, and the third one is...
Kyle Bridger. I would say that I am dead, so I'm Rick. Spoiler alert.
Oh, spoiler off the bat. Holy cow. I'm going to have to record a spoiler warning for that.
Yeah. And I'll say John is Greg.
Or Gary.
Gary, that's what I meant. Gary.
Greg. Yes. Which one?
Gary, the old rich guy.
Yeah, they're the same one. Remember?
Greg, Gary,
they're
it's all the
person.
same.
Okay,
It's
sorry.
all the same. And you're Timothy Ratliff. You're trying to poison us all, Dave. Spoiler alert.
I am. I mean, I thought maybe we could, to partake in a little drink before we started here. I blended up some stuff I found around the neighborhood, and we'll see how's it taste. What do you guys think of that?
It's fine as long as you wash the dish. All right, just wash the dish.
We're gonna break that down. I got a lot of thoughts about the Ratcliffes. The whole time I'm just yelling, Piper, no! Like I'm yelling at them. But all right, yes, we're gonna talk about White Lotus. We're going to talk about another HBO series that just started right after The White Lotus, The Last of Us. We have a full season of Black Mirror. We got a final season of Gemstones. We have a new series in the studio. So much TV to talk about tonight. No in and out points, but we are going to go back, so send us back.
Back in time.
We're back, baby!
Gotta get back in time.
I think I still nailed it. I think I did.
I think we'll see. Okay, The White Lotus season 3. We're going to talk all about it. We're going to spoil it even more outside of that intro. February 16th through April 6th is when this season aired on HBO. All right. A lot to unpack. I think let's talk overall thoughts, and then maybe we'll go like group by group a little bit here, if any thoughts on those groups. But overall season thoughts on season 3. John, what did you think of this season?
Yeah, this is always White Lotus is always a tough one because you watch the whole thing and it's just all slow build. There's some episodes that it feels like nothing happens, where it's just the pieces are moving into the correct position and nothing really dramatic happens. So it's a little hard to judge day to day, or week to week. I guess after the finale aired and I watched it, I was kind of like, that wasn't very satisfying. But I think as I think it over and maybe read some others' opinions that I agree with, it's grown on me a little bit more. But yeah, I think it's still there as a show. I don't think I would say I'm skipping next season. Like I'm still interested in watching it. So yeah.
I hear you. I mean, it's the chess game. We're or maybe it's better as the dominoes. We're setting the dominoes up, and then the finale, hopefully they all fall in line. And I think overall for me, this season is probably 3 out of 3. But don't get me wrong, it's still good. I enjoyed the ride. It's not as strong as the first 2, I think. I mean, it's just, and it's a high bar to clear, because I think I really liked the other 2 seasons, specifically also like, the last season in Italy that we just had. But yeah, the pacing was maybe a bit more of a slow burn this time around. It's possible I heard there was a lot left out, maybe on the cutting room floor. Heard a lot of episodes were starting to clock in around 90 minutes, and HBO was like, nope, got to trim these up. Got to tighten these up a little bit here. And because there's some storylines, which I can get to in a second, that just... And it's like, well, how did this even A to B to C connect? Like, one of them real quick is the Ratcliffe daughter hooking up with Zion, Belinda's son.
Yeah.
Like, okay, like, wait a minute. Did they even talk in this finale that we got? Like,
yeah.
how did this happen? So yeah, there's like a lot of stuff left on the cutting room floor. But Kyle, just overall, what are your thoughts on season 3?
I thought it early on, I thought it was a little bit tedious. I'm like, it's just okay. It was
Yeah.
just okay. Like it's still good, but it's just okay. Then the middle was really working for me. There
Yeah.
was a few episodes in there where it was like edge of your seat. You're like really want to see where this ends up. Things are happening. We're getting further in the story. And then the finale, last couple episodes, it didn't really work for me. And I can go into it as we go along through the episodes and whatnot. But yeah, I thought it was just okay. I'm with you, 3 of 3. But I think it's still saying all that. It's still a very fun
Yeah.
show to watch, very entertaining. But as a whole, I don't think it's its best season.
Yeah. Because you really never know where Mike White is going to take us. There's plenty of
Mm,
moments, and we'll talk about it, where it's just like, oh God, we're not going there, are we? And you
yeah,
start going there a little bit, or
yeah,
you swerve and go somewhere else, and
Where?
yeah.
you're guessing, you're like, you see the pieces going in that direction. Like, I like what he does, and I think. Yeah, I think that's the general consensus on the season was the pacing of it all. In
Hmm.
the middle, a lot of people thought, yeah, it was tedious. Like, where are we going? Is it going to
Hmm.
pay off? I mean, there was like a moment where like I was worried at the start of the finale when like I think the monk was kind of telling the Radcliffe children like about like you have to come to peace with sometimes having no resolution, and I was like, oh God, like
Mm,
this him setting us up to and. I,
yeah.
I think I'm more okay with the finale than I think a lot of the internet I've been seeing. But Michael White did respond on the official White Lotus podcast about the pacing and his thoughts on that and what people were talking about.
And I actually feel like the discourse or whatever, all the like buzz around it has like brought more people to the show. And then they come to the show and they're like, what the hell is this? They're like whatever the pacing and the vibe and like what it's doing, it definitely gets under their skin in some way. And like there was complaining about how there's no plot, and that part I find weird because it never had a like it's never been. It's like part of me is just like, bro, this is the vibe. Like I'm world building, you know what I mean? It's just like if you don't want to go to bed with me, get out of my bed. Like, you know what I mean? I'm edging you. It's like enjoy the edging. Like if you don't want to be edged, get out of my bed. Do you know what I mean? It's just like don't be a bossy bottom or get the fuck out of my bed. Like don't come home with me. Don't get naked in my bed. Get the fuck out of my bed.
All right. It's like
I love being edged by you,
It's
Mike.
like obviously something's gonna happen. I'm not gonna just like we're not
I'm not
gonna
going to
just
leave
end
you
it with,
here.
like,
I'm
it's
not going to leave
be
you here
just-
with nothing.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's probably why I didn't want to read that paragraph out. I wanted Mike White, in his own words, to say that. But yeah, so that was what he was doing this season. He was
Well,
yeah.
I mean, I get it. He's dropping you into a world, and you're watching the characters build, but there has to be some kind of payoff. But it feels like talking about pacing at the end, we get to the finale, and we're just like zooming through stuff
Yeah.
that could have been done and built up further along the way. But
Yeah, I think there's a part of the issue with like this show where it's like, I mean, we talked about it. The first season was like a COVID necessity. It was HBO didn't have anything, and they're like, Mike, you write quick. Can you give us anything under the
Mhm.
COVID protocols that we could shoot and get on the air? And he came up with this fun little thing, and then it just picked off. Like it became this sensation. And even in this third season, it was getting higher ratings every single episode. And it's kind of like it almost kind of like became a victim of its own success, where it's like, Mike White is known for like Enlightened and all these other like thought-provoking shows. And like sure, he builds it as like this mystery, but that's like almost like in the first season, he did it as like, a commentary on these shows that always start off with the big moment, and then it's like rewind, and like they
Mm.
because you see that now with every show. I think Paradise had it. All these different shows, it's just like it's such a cliche now where it's like you start off in the first 5 minutes of like somebody's dead, and then it's like 7 days later, and like and I think
Mm.
but he kept that formula going, and it's becoming bigger and bigger and bigger, and more eyeballs are on it, more pressure's on it, and
Mm.
yeah, there's like yeah, he packed it all into the finale because it's like if you do it too soon, are people going to drop out? Like, I think it's like it's a victim of its own.
Yeah, I
Yes,
think
yeah.
also it's like the characters are all very similar across the White Lotus experience because we're looking at rich, entitled characters, and it's some iteration of that for all of these
Yeah.
people. So I don't know if we're just getting used to that formula too, or
And
what.
he's a reality TV show guy. I mean, he was on 2 seasons of The Amazing Race. He was on Survivor, and he knows like archetypes. He knows it's like all right, this is this person, this is that person, and it's like playing with those archetypes over and over and over
Yeah.
again. Um, we can go through some of them here. I mean, we can start off with Rick and Chelsea, Walton Goggins and I think Amia Wood. I mean, I guess spoiler, yeah. The two of the deaths we had this season, um, despite getting some peace for about like 12 hours, it all went away when the hotel owner came back to see, Rick and, be at the hotel the
Yeah.
next morning.
Who went immediately back to where he
Back.
knew she
I-
was gonna be.
I
Yeah.
know.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's funny because I also was like, what's Rick's plan here? He's gonna assault the owner of the hotel that he's staying at the night before, and he's like, I'm gonna spend one more night in this hotel, get breakfast at the
Yeah.
breakfast bar this morning, and not have anyone be mad at me or any of, it's just like you assault the hotel owner and go back to the very hotel. They know you're staying there.
Yeah.
It's just, but
And I thought in the previous episode, the penultimate episode,
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure I'm like he's probably the father. That's what I thought about. Was it or
As
just
soon as he tipped him over and they like didn't kill him, I was like, all right, he's gotta be the
yeah?
dad. There's no way.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think my wife had a feeling about that too, and it's just like yeah, it had the Star Wars ending pretty much of like he
Mhm.
killed the man, and then it's like you're thinking it's his that he killed the man that he killed his father. It's like no, he
Mhm.
is your father, and it was just like it kind of like it was like a moment where it's like again like it felt a little rushed in the moment. It was just like you guys picked it up, but maybe it's like oh, but like, build it a little bit
Yeah.
more.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There were just parts of it that I was just like annoyed with the Rick character. I like Walton Goggins in this
Mhm.
role, but it was just like you ruined my life. It's just like, but it's like you never stop to think at all. Like your mom was just feeding you BS, and
Yeah.
like move on. Like you barely knew your dad to hold on a memory of him because clearly you didn't because
Mm,
you didn't remember. Like
yeah.
it's just like,
Well, then you look at what's it, Chelsea? Is
yeah,
that her? Chelsea on the flip side of that is like she's put her heart and soul
yeah,
into this flawed of a character because clearly he's like can't think straight, but she's assuming that they're soulmates, and she's like put everything on the table for this guy when he's like super flawed, and she's just following, she's just waiting for him,
yeah.
and
Yeah.
he's her downfall,
Yeah.
and it's
She
just like
deserved better. She definitely deserved
yeah.
better.
Yeah. But I like Walton Goggins. I
Oh
like what
yeah,
he did with the character. Yeah.
definitely.
Mhm.
Definitely. I believe, I mean, he worked with Sam Rockwell this season. I believe I was hearing that Woody Harrelson was going to be the Sam Rockwell
Mm.
character, I think. And there was some scheduling stuff. And another thing that came out was in an article that everyone in the ensemble of the White Lotus, probably like everyone you see in this poster, makes the same amount of money.
Mhm.
So
Mm.
it's like the SAG, whatever, HBO rate kind of thing. And it's like, if you don't want it, you don't want it,
Mm.
and there might have been something that involved too. But
He also said that he got off the plane from doing White Lotus and went right to Gemstones
Yeah.
to film the next season. Like he said, he
Wow.
stopped in his apartment for like a couple hours to grab clothes or something, and then was on his way to go do a table read or something like,
yeah,
or
what
film or
what
something.
a cool moment for him right now to have two huge HBO shows going on at the
Well,
same time.
And they're doing next season of Fallout too right
that's
now.
true.
That's on Prime, but yeah.
Yeah, but
still.
still, the
Yeah,
guy's
that is
busy
crazy.
guy.
It's
Yeah, he
the
is a
Pedro
busy guy.
Pascal thing going on. And you got
Yeah.
Last of Us, Mandalorian, Fantastic Four, everything. It's
Well, have you ever said, I don't mean to disparage anybody, but I just recently saw like videos of him when he was younger, and he has like a wild look to him, and he's really, I think, grown into himself. He kind of gives me like Trevor from GTA when he was younger vibes. It's
Yep.
just weird.
I can do that.
Hmm,
But
well, All right, I want to move to the Ratcliffs. I feel like there's a lot
Yeah.
going on here because it looks like we almost had another death with Lockie, but ended up okay. He was okay. There were so many fake outs with Timothy, Jason Isaac's character, killing himself, his family throughout. And man, I was really waiting for this Jonestown milkshake thing to be one of these fake outs too, but it kept going. It kept
Hmm.
going for a while, and it's like with this again, it's like you really want your youngest son to be alive. He was gonna give
Well,
a Coke after all that. Sure, it's like he said he could live without money, but could he also live out without his entire family? No brother, sister, mom, dad. It's just like, and you don't have any money either. So you're really like, he has
Yeah,
nothing.
but
No family, no money.
yeah, I took it as like he could see in his eyes that he really could,
Yeah.
whereas he couldn't see it in the others. That's what I took it
But it's
as.
just one of those
plus,
things where it's like, oh, I could live without money, but it's like, could you live without your entire family?
Yeah. Yeah.
He
he
didn't
he
ask that
was
question.
Well,
he,
he did want to become a monk.
Hmm.
he
I
was
guess.
also was super high for like the whole week, so he probably rational thinking probably wasn't
Yeah.
the forefront
true.
of
That's true.
his thoughts. But
Yeah.
I think that the Ratcliffs were maybe my biggest disappointment in the season and how that ended.
Oh, okay.
I was expecting either they're all gonna die, which I kind of didn't think was gonna happen, but I was ready for it. But really, what I thought is that he's gonna kill some of them or something, and then find out they exonerated him. The other guy of the duo that's being investigated took the full blame, and he's okay. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
where is the sacrifice for no reason? Because that's what they were setting it up for, and then nothing. Like,
Yeah, I was waiting for something like with the shoe to drop with that, whether it's like somebody in his family finds out, from another
mhm.
hotel guest, because they're talking with Saxon, like maybe like, Chelsea like looks up, hey, who's this Saxon guy? Like
Mhm.
what's his name again? Wait, that's his dad. He's in Bel, it's like, kind of
Yeah,
Mm.
piece it
yep.
together or something because wow, they gave up their phones. I feel like everyone else at the hotel still had their phones and was, using them all at various points and stuff like that. So I was waiting for something like that to drop, or yeah, like it's all under the rug, or like it's just a little bit more I was expecting, but yeah, as you mentioned, John, like he wasn't thinking straight too much, and that's like what I was like the thing again. We're nitpicking a little bit here with this
Yeah.
stuff, but it's just like that's also what else are we gonna talk about?
Mhm.
But it's like yeah, he throws out the drinks. You could you at least rinse the blender? That's all. Like you don't have to just
Mhm.
clean out the
Coconut milk
blender
is
a little
bad.
bit, and it's just like.
I mean,
If it's not that, the White Lotus Resort just needs to cut down that tree. Like, just replace the tree or every stay, take the fruit off of it or something. Like,
yeah.
but I don't know.
Yeah.
Mm,
Yeah. But what I didn't like about the father storyline is the wishy-washy back and forth. I felt like we did it for 5, 6 episodes.
yeah.
He loses the gun, and before that he was already contemplating suicide and then going
Mm,
back, and then he loses the gun and then he contemplates suicide again, and then no, not me, but my
mm,
entire family. It's just like it was just took too long to develop. And I know he was supposed to like go to the monastery or whatever or the Buddhist temple and be like get some enlightenment from that. But it just I wish they could do more for Jason Isaacs because he was just
yeah.
in like a little what is it lorazepam
Lorazepam. Yeah.
high the
Yeah.
entire time.
Yeah, I hear you. And I wonder if it's something with like the stuff we were talking about, like with like stuff on the cutting room floor, where like they cut other storylines so much
Hmm.
where it's like, well, we got to hang on to something here because or these episodes are going to be, 24 minutes. It's like, so it's like, well, if we cut out that thing with the daughter and Zion and we cut this thing over
Hmm.
here and it's like, well, I guess we got to keep this to at least have something for Jason Isaacs,
Yeah.
like it's
Yeah.
um and keep the episodes at least, close to an hour. But yeah.
Talking about the blender though, I mean
Yeah.
Lockie could have rinsed it out too. You've got two.
No, he
It's like
wanted he wanted a little taste of the pina colada he wasn't allowed to have.
I mean
Or,
I
or
guess.
was he assuming his brother made one before him and was
Mm.
just,
Yeah,
reusing it? I don't
that's
know. It seems
true.
like the
He
jury's out
wants
on that one,
he
but
wants whatever he wants to be as close as to his
yeah.
brother as possible, it seems like. That was not the only mess that we got ourselves into this season, the mess in the blender. So that happened with Lockie's brother Saxon here. that was a very tense, cringe scene, and I was really scared in the moment of how far we were going. We went, you know, we could have went further, which I'm glad we didn't, but I was still not like where we're going.
Went far
Uh,
enough.
yeah, but man, it was, and like the way that they did it, where, throughout the episode, like we didn't know what happened because we didn't see it, but like they were piecing it together too, of like, wait, what did happen? And
Hmm.
each time went a little bit further and a little
But
bit
yeah,
further. So like, where's the bottom? Where does this end? And
yeah.
it's like, but yeah, I think overall, like when you look at characters, I really like Patrick Schwarzenegger in his character this season. He was the perfect slimy villain,
Hmm.
kind of character. I also think, yeah, like, if I had to go with other favorites, I think Chelsea, Parker
Yeah.
Posey's Victoria. I like Walton Goggins too. I mean, there was a lot of good characters, I feel like, this season.
Mm.
Maybe one of the stronger acting
Yeah,
seasons of White Lotus,
yeah,
if not the strongest overall story.
Well,
yeah,
yeah, Carrie Coon had
yeah.
that like emotional scene at the
Hmm.
the hotel. That was probably one of the best monologues.
Yeah, I think she had like the best like monologue there, but I think like for me, if we talk about like the girls, like
Mm.
Katie, Lori, and Jacqueline, it's like I think I wanted more of this trio. Maybe because, again, I like the three actresses, especially like Carrie Coon, but like I feel like I was missing the most with this one. I feel like outside of that monologue, I feel like, I thought it was gonna be a little bit more dicey for them, with the hotel
Mm.
staff they befriended. Sure it was this like money scheme trying to, milk them for some of the money and stuff, but it's just like I don't know. I thought like the stakes a little bit higher or something,
Hmm.
just especially
Yeah.
with the build up and how shady those characters we find out are, robbing the White Lotus and doing other stuff like that. It's like I really thought like, oh boy, they're going to be in some trouble, especially when they go off campus and um, are staying at their homes and stuff like that.
Hmm.
But
Um, the Guy Talk and Mook, right? That's her
yeah,
name. The storyline. Like,
that was another rough one, I think.
yeah, yeah. There was like at the end, I'm just going by Mook. Like, she wanted like this certain individual, and he was willing to just leave everything out there for this person. Like, he became something he didn't even want to, just because she was like, "Well, I want a more like motivated man." And he's like, "Well, I guess I could do that, even though I don't want to hurt anybody, and now I'm in a position where I have to all the time." Like, it just felt so manipulative.
Oh yeah.
And definitely, I think like overall, again, we're talking seasons 3 out of 3. I think that's might be like my least favorite of the hotel staff storyline so far.
Hmm.
I mean, it's so hard to top Marie Bartlett's, from season 1, but like I feel like, if we also look at Fabian, the hotel manager there, like feel like next to nothing for him. Like
Yeah,
I liked
Yep.
there was that fun joke about this buildup of him wanting to sing and how nervous he
yeah,
was, and then when it happens, it just cut away to the three ladies talking and not caring because that would
yeah,
happen. But yeah, like as you were saying with with the security guard, it's like man, you the whole time it's like get some confidence, man, and just
yeah,
like you got Jason Isaac on video going
yeah,
into the security room there. It's like taking the gun. Like just don't take his word for it. Be like, dude, like give me the gun. I got you on camera.
yeah.
Like at least going into a room you're not supposed to. And it's like there was a point I did worry at the end, just the way that they cut the finale where the hotel owner is like, shoot him, and like, but he was like around the corner, Walton Goggins' character, and it was like so chaotic, and he's holding a dead body, so it's like, oh, maybe he's not, bad or something, and it's like out of sight that he was gonna like shoot the wrong person.
Hmm.
Also because
Mm.
like we've seen throughout the season, like he's not the best at his job, I feel like.
Yeah.
So it's just like, oh boy, like, is this gonna be an accident? Because we're not exactly everyone's seeing the same person, but
Yeah.
um. Yeah, and I think just to close it out real quick, we got Belinda, Zion, and I guess Greg slash Gary. Um, I
I
liked I like this for like a connection between all three seasons. Like I like the little through line in this anthology of it all to keep Jennifer Coolidge's character entwined a little bit here. And I just the Greg Gary, kind of like return was I do like the commentary on how money corrupts people here because
Mm.
the way Belinda acts after the 5 million goes into her account,
Yep.
the way she acts to that coworker who was going to open a business with her, exactly the same Tanya, did to Belinda in season one. It's like, oh, circumstances have changed, I have 5 million now, and it's just like,
Yeah, I
but
don't think she ever really promised porn chai anything, but yeah, it's not a good look because she definitely was acting different. And that whole negotiation scene,
Mm,
just I did
yeah.
not like it at all.
Nope.
I thought it was silly and forced,
yeah,
and it
I
just
think
felt like
Zion,
this
it
character
felt,
came out of
yeah,
nowhere, and it was
Yeah.
just like it just did not work for me.
yeah, the whole thing with like, I still don't understand like the money, wiring of it all, where it's like if you give your account number, like couldn't he just like steal your money or it's like things like that, even though she had like next to nothing in the account,
Mm,
where it was like I noticed like, oh, you got 5 million, but it's like outside of that it was like 12,000, like that was as much as she had in the
mm,
account. But it's like, yeah, like his starting offer of like 100,000, it's just like, dude, like in this economy, like that's gonna
It's
open
almost
up,
insulting.
yeah, like that's not gonna get you anything. But I don't know. I don't know. I wonder if that's it for that storyline. I wonder if anyone's gonna be like returning from season four, for
mm.
season four, whether it's from season two, season three. There's always talk of like an all-star season, especially as like Mike White, a fan of reality TV, where it's like, you know, a group from season one, a group from season two, a
Season
group from
two,
season
yeah,
three. Like they all happen to take their
yeah.
trip to somewhere, another White Lotus
And
location.
they need to do the prequel and get Armand back is really what they
That
need
would
to
be
do.
fun. That would be
Yeah.
fun. Yeah, I'm curious, like where we're going. I'm hoping a little something less beachy, waves crashing. Like, give me Africa, give me the Alps, like winter, something. Like, give
I
me
I think
something.
Mike White has been interviewed before and says he hates the cold. So don't
Yeah,
hold your fingers. Don't cross your fingers for the cold. But I could see maybe it being less of a beach and yeah, maybe like somewhere in Africa where it's a little bit warmer and it's a maybe a more of a jungle type safari resort. Like you know what I mean? It's just
yeah.
water plays such a big part in all the seasons so far. I
Yeah.
can't imagine they
They got lakes.
wouldn't.
You can get a
So many cuts
frozen
to water.
pond.
So many waves
Yeah,
crashing, cuts to water, splashing in the
man,
camera.
man, Mike White has like the best job where it's like he can go on these like retreats for research.
Yeah.
Yes, 4 seasons. I would like to check out the hotel in,
Yeah.
you know, Spain,
Location scout.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's like at this point, who is staying at these White Lotus hotels? It's
I
like
know.
the guests are dying left and right. Now there was a shootout at one of them. It's just like maybe a prequel would be better. So but one thing we won't have maybe in season four is the same sort of music. The music creator
Mm.
Mm.
has left season four. There were some disagreements with Mike White. Mike White responded to the musician after he reached out into the New York Times, and Mike White was saying maybe he's not used to getting notes and didn't want to hear, you know, the critique. So, and I will say, the music's always great in the White Lotus. It's always like the in between instrumental stuff, but I do agree with the musician on one part. The intro, man. Mike White did not want the, like the
Yeah.
classic. I'm not doing it on the podcast, but the oohs and ahs of the
Yeah.
White Lotus theme. And I'm
Yeah.
like,
That
it
should have
was
been there.
that should have been there.
It was
Just like
missing.
something, just you know,
At this point, it's iconic. That's the
yeah.
series.
You did it in two of them. You got to do it like
Yeah.
if be one thing if you switched it every season, but no, you did it twice. You got to do it 3 times. Like you got to keep it. But oh well, oh well. I don't know. We'll wait and see. Maybe in probably 2 years before we get another White Lotus, but I'm sure we'll be watching. All right. Any other thoughts on it? Any other thoughts? Anything we're
Um,
missing?
no, I think I mentioned everything.
All right. From one HBO show to another, let's go to The Last of Us. We had the season two premiere, Future Days, aired on April 13th. Now, it really was the future days because we jumped 5 years after the events of the season one finale, where Joel has killed several fireflies at the hospital to rescue Ellie, and now they're living in Jackson, Wyoming, and their relationship is strained. And we have this new character of Abby, a new foe for Joel, who observes this town from afar as she seeks revenge for those firefly deaths. Now, this is an interesting show to talk about because yes, it is based on a game, and there are spoilers out there. Myself, haven't played the game, only watching the show. Where is everyone else standing on this?
I played the first game. I intend to play the second game, but have not yet. I do have some spoilers for the second game because when it came out, there was a lot of controversy over certain scenes and stuff. So I do know certain things that happen. But I'm trying to get into a position where I can watch the rest of the season after I've played the game.
Okay.
So that's kind of my goal, is to maybe play through the game before I watch any more.
Okay. And Kyle?
I mean, I played both games. My memory is horrible, so I mean, I remember certain parts, but I know like bits and pieces, or I remember bits and pieces. But yeah,
Yeah, we're gonna
but I
keep
played
this
both games.
spoiler free as best we can here. We're only talking about the premiere of what we've seen. Maybe at the end, I'll give you guys like 2, 3 minutes if you want to talk about some of the spoilers. Nope. Okay, so
Not
no.
me, no.
So
But
that's fine with me. I was gonna take my earphones out, so we won't talk spoilers at all here. But anyways, we jumped ahead, and it's been a bit. And there was a point where I was like, all right, let me just watch the HBO recap. I think I'll be able to piece this together here. And as soon as like the episode started, I was like, I gotta watch a recap. It's been too long. I need to know. And yeah, so like I'm kind of unsure of like what is not like filled in and what I don't remember from 2 years ago because it's like
mm,
it's like yeah, Ellie's 19 now. Joel's
hmm
overprotecting her. It's like, is that it? Is that the reason for the riff, or does she know about the lies he shared at the end of season one, or other stuff that we've yet to see? Or as a viewer, we don't know that yet. So I don't
mm,
know exactly what we're supposed to know and what we're not supposed to know, but I don't know. I'm glad that the show is back because I think it's the production quality is there with this. Gorgeous landscapes, great acting, the production design. The apocalypse is top notch, and they still can deliver some suspense. During the market run that there's going to be an attack of some sort, but like where and how, and you see the creature in the background, and it's like a new, different, smart, stealthy walker or whatever clicker, whatever we call them in this universe. So there's like it's like they have their beats, but like, like they are up in their game. Would have probably liked a little bit more of Joel and Ellie together because I think
Mhm.
that's where the show really clicks, but we didn't get that here. But enough about that so far. What are your overall thoughts? John, start me off. What did you think of the premiere of The Last of Us?
I kind of agree. I think it's good to be back in the universe. I think Ellie's being a little teenage pain in the butt, maybe, but that's who wasn't that at one point in their life, I guess. But yeah, I mean, having not played the rest of the game and not knowing where it's going, I can only imagine that her attitude is going to come back to bite her. So that's
I
really the
mean, pun intended there. I mean,
yeah,
who
yeah.
knows? I mean,
Um,
she's immune, and I think that's adding to it a little bit here. It's like, oh, I'm immune. Like I'm okay
yeah.
here.
Oh
Like I
yeah.
could do
Yeah,
whatever I
yeah.
want, and it's
Yeah.
just like,
100%.
yeah.
And so I'm wondering where that's all going to go and how it's going to play out. But yeah, I mean, I think based on what we saw with the first season, that they're in good hands and with these guys, adapting the game to the show. So I don't foresee there being anything crazy happening where it's like, that's not, the game did this and this. I mean, I saw somebody do another comparison shot again between the game and the show, and it was like you used like ChatGPT to turn it from a game into realistic. Like it was 1-to-1. It was like the exact same. So they seem to be referencing the source material very, very closely and all that. So we'll just have to see how it plays out, I guess.
I always love this like fact about the creator Craig Mazin of the show here, where yes, he does The Last of Us, and he was a writer on Chernobyl. That's a good show there. But then if you actually look at his like other things, it's like, oh yeah, he's the writer of Scary Movie 3, 4, The Hangover 2. He directed superhero movie. Let's see, he did like Hangover 3 writer. It's just like this stuff. It's like, what are
Mhm.
we doing here? Like how did he even get the Chernobyl job to begin
Yeah.
with? But No, he's good. Kyle, what do you think of the season or the
Well,
premiere episode?
yeah, I mean, I definitely think it was like an exposition heavy
Yeah.
episode and just getting us back into the world. It's good to see Ellie and Pedro Pascal and to be back in this, like you said, the landscapes and seeing the different clickers. It's cool. There's some evolution. Everyone's evolving a little bit. Um, so that in and of itself, but there wasn't really much to go on with this episode. Um,
Yeah.
but
A lot of teases, a lot of setup.
yeah, I think it's just like Ellie trying to figure herself out, growing up, teenage angst, doesn't want to
Mhm.
have this parent like character, over top of her. So,
Yeah.
uh, and then Joel, he's got to figure out how to navigate that now that she's being like that, and I don't think he's used to that. So,
Yeah. Yeah, because his daughter never made it to that point. And yeah, we can talk about the new characters, real quick. Ellie's friend, crush, girlfriend, Dina. Man, I didn't think she was long for this world. I was shocked that she didn't, die at the market. Like I was expecting that as like a little bit of like a catalyst or something. And I don't think she's gonna make it to the end of the season, but we'll see. That's just my guess. Um, but yeah, any thoughts on Dina? I'm gonna run through some of the other characters if you don't have any specific thoughts on Dina. But uh,
no, well, clear. I mean, I don't know if you picked up. There's clearly something going on between the boy
mm,
and Ellie as well. So, is this like love triangle gonna work out?
yeah. Well, if she needs a therapist, she can always go to Catherine O'Hara. It looks like the one therapist left because she can do whatever the hell she wants. She can drink during the day and during a session, but that's Joel's tough love therapist here. I didn't, I don't remember this character as well. You'll have to remind me. Joel killed her husband, Eugene.
I did not. Was this something we were
Yeah.
supposed to remember?
I
Or
I had a hunch that it might be. Remember when the very first episode when the neighbor went crazy? Was that them? When he had to kill the neighbor because he
I thought the neighbor was super old, right?
she's pretty old, but
But no,
but
I mean, this has been what
yeah.
now? We're like 10 years after that event
Yeah,
or something
I,
at
I
least.
that's the only thing I could think of, unless maybe it was like an off-screen thing where they're just like kind of hand waving that, oh, you killed
Yeah.
my husband, but I don't
Yeah,
know.
I just wasn't sure if she was like a firefly or the husband was a firefly at some point
I
or
don't know.
yeah, it
something.
wasn't. Yeah, I'm not sure if they're gonna tell us something in
Yeah.
the future. I didn't know if
Yeah, I
I
wasn't sure
needed
if
to
like
have
if
that.
I missed it in season one or if that was in the 5 years of
Yeah,
exposition we were getting. But
no.
so I'm gonna put a pin in on that. And I think that probably the most talked about character that we're gonna
Mm.
have this season is Abby, Caitlin Deaver. All I know is a very controversial character from the game. The audiences may hate or love to hate or any of those things. Again, we're gonna leave it there, but I am excited to see where this goes because I think Caitlin Deaver is great. So,
So here and
uh-oh.
here's where I like the casting choice. It's going to be interesting to see how the story changes with Caitlin Deaver as the casting choice. I like Caitlin Deaver as an actress, and I think she's very good. I think if we're trying to be uh, close to the game, the casting might have been a little bit different because I mentioned this on the Good, the Bad, Watchable, but like Abby's character is so menacing physically that it changes how the characters around her react to her. So,
Mm,
did you get that impression when she was on screen? What, like talking like, this is how it's gonna be? No, I didn't get that from Caitlin Deaver. It was more like emotional, like we need to do this. But in the game, it's like they're scared of her.
mm.
That she's a menacing character. If
Maybe is
she'll rip you to shreds,
maybe in
and I
this
don't.
in this version it's gonna be like they're switching it up instead of being a physical force. Maybe she's some kind of like mental force where
Yeah,
she can like manipulate and like just rip you to shreds mentally or
yeah.
something.
I mean, I don't know, but it changes the way the story's gonna go. And I'm not saying that's for bad or for worse. I think it's gonna be different than the game a little bit and how these characters respond to her because it's gonna be shaped differently.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah, and we'll leave it at that. But I'm sure you can find the stuff out there if you want to know. But
But like again, I'm not saying
yeah.
that to disparage
No,
anyone or I think it's the worst casting ever.
no.
Like I don't think that at all. It's just the story will be a little bit different, I think.
Yeah, I'm just curious about how I mean, the internet already is probably reacting like,
Yeah.
at the casting announcement to that. But I
Yeah.
think like just even like this show is big, and I think from what I remember of the spoilers I've picked up on here and there, it's like people will be angry with her, and it sucks because it's like, no, you're angry with the character. Just like we're seeing it a little bit now with the announcements of like the Harry Potter TV show on Max we're gonna get. It's just like, no, it's there's a lot of sometimes the actors get a lot of heat for no reason, and it's just like it's undeserved. And sometimes it's because they're so good at their character and they're so good, being that
Mm,
villain that it's just like, yeah. But we'll see. We'll see what's going on with that. But I know we're all in on Last of Us.
yeah, for
We're
sure.
gonna be watching week to
Yep.
week, and I'm sure we'll talk about it when the finale is, in a month or two. But all right, just a little bit of time here. We're gonna do some quick checks.
Quick check.
All right, 3 shows, one of which also dropped in the last week. It's been 2 years, but we got 6 episodes of Black Mirror season 7. I know we all seen different amounts of it here. I realizing I'm setting this show up, but I shouldn't be. Because John, this is your quick check, so take it away. I'm sorry.
Yeah, no, it's all good. So I did see all 6 episodes. I guess overall, I'm gonna say that it's a better season than the last couple. I feel like the last couple kind of marked a little bit of a decline in I don't want to say quality, but story. The stories weren't as good. The visuals were all there. Everything was all good. It was just the stories didn't click as well for me. And this one marks a little bit of an uptick from there. You have your kind of a little bit of a mix of some more emotional things, and you have a mix of a little bit more tech things. So they touch on like being forced into like subscription fees and stuff like that. And I think which episodes did you guys see? The first 2?
Yeah, so I saw the first 2, Common People, and
Mhm.
then I don't know what the other one's called, Gaslighting 101 or something, whatever it was.
Yeah. I saw
Um,
3 episodes.
Okay. So yeah, I mean, do we want to talk a little bit about some of those
Yeah.
episodes?
Yeah, that's
Okay,
fine.
so that first episode, Common People, which is kind of about what happens when somebody who you love is basically a subscription at that point, and getting buried in debt, and all things that are very relevant to now. I mean, what doesn't have a subscription service? What isn't trying to get the last dollar? Who doesn't have some kind of medical thing that thankfully some of us have insurance, but like that's not everybody. So it really is very topical and
Also the
yeah.
classism that's involved too of being at a different tier and
Yep.
yeah.
And then
so
you're a victim to like them raising it whenever they want to.
yeah.
Yeah.
Like you're stuck.
And I thought it was it was told well enough. The story was told well enough where it wasn't like, yes, I could see the beats coming of, oh yeah, they're gonna raise the price. Oh yeah, they promised that it would roll out worldwide, but of course you got to pay more and all that. That all happened, and you could all predict it. But the way they told it didn't make me sit there being like, all right, what's next? Blah blah blah. It was kind of more like, yeah, that's happened to me. I maybe not in the same circumstances, but I've had a subscription that's done that. I've had something that's raised the price. I've been locked out of some feature because of these things, and
On the very streaming service that this show is on. Like, you know,
yes.
two seasons in
So
a row where that premiere episode kind of takes a swipe at their home. And, you know,
yep.
Joan is awful and common people. Yeah.
So that one I thought was a very good a very good episode, and I really enjoyed it. Maybe one of the ones I didn't enjoy as much is on screen right now is the Hotel Reverie. I don't think you guys saw that, right?
I saw it.
You did see it, okay?
I haven't
so
seen it. No.
I'm not gonna dive too deep into it, but it just felt like nothing was happening. I didn't really. I don't want to taint it for Dave when he goes to watch it, but the whole time I was just like, all right, I can see what's coming next. You know, like this person's gonna be blah 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 blah. You know, of course. You know, so that I didn't really dive too deep into and really enjoyed.
That's funny. I actually I didn't mind episode 3, but all I mentioned about episode 3 is I feel like the writer really feels like that technology where you snap it onto your temple is coming at sooner or later, because it's been in this one.
Yep.
It's been in some other ones too.
It's in the USS Callister.
Yeah.
It's in Eulogy in this season. It's in, like, I think 4 out of the 6 episodes this season have a device that you put on your temple, and it can read your mind and see out your eyes and, you know, take over your brain and all that stuff. So yes, the writers that are doing this very much are sitting on their that tech. But I guess real quick, go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say I didn't like episode 2 that much.
Betty Noir,
the Bait Noir.
Bait Noir. I don't know how to say it, but yeah. I thought it was okay. You saw this one too, David?
Yeah, this is the one I saw.
Okay, so we can kind of discuss a little bit more. Again, it felt very, very much like I kind of knew it was happening. I think maybe the only twist was at the very end when the roles kind of switched. I didn't expect that. I kind of expected her to either you know, die or whatever. But it wasn't bad, but it wasn't something where I was sitting there like, oh yeah, let's keep watching. You know what I mean? It's just more like, all right, it's on. Like,
and for me, like, there's a part I worry about with some of these where it's like when you drift to, like, I yes, they explained how the tech works in that, but like there's points where it's like, okay, like really, like, you know, and it's one of those things where it's like, are we just doing magic at this point? Are we just doing
magic under the guise of technology? Yes.
Yeah, and that's the thing where it's like I don't like those as much as the ones where it's like the technology is like, you know, sure, it's more plausible, and it's like, oh, like this could really happen, whether it's a year from now, 10 years from now, or 20 years from now. It's like, this could really happen. This felt like like how's she manipulating that video in real time? Like there must be something. It's like, oh no, it's just press of a magic button, and it's just like, you know, I know, it's timelines, and it's like, all right, you know, whatever. But
maybe one of the ones, speaking of magic, maybe one of the ones I enjoyed a little bit more was Eulogy. I don't want to spoil it too much, so I'll discuss maybe the premise more than what happens. But it's the story of a guy exploring some of his memories that he's kind of blocked out of his head from you know, the pain it causes him, and doing so via, he's got a little temple device, of course, where he'll look at a picture and then he'll be in the picture. But some of the stuff he doesn't remember, like it'll kind of be like low poly, kind of like, there's one instance where someone's back was to the camera taker, and so he wanted to see their face, and he walks around, but it's just like kind of like a blank slate because he can't remember that person's face. And so he's exploring, and there's photos that are damaged via like a lighter, so someone's face has like just a hole where their face is supposed to be because it got burnt off, or if it's scribbled with a Sharpie, they have a big scribble over their face. So I really like the technology, not the technology that they present, but the technology they use in the making of this, and how they kind of took a vignette and turned it from an image into a 3D space, but it still respects all the aspects of what the image originally had. And you know, some of the damage, the image, and the scratches and stuff kind of still exist in this memory. And as he's thinking through it and remembering things, you kind of see it fill out a bit more. So there's like an instance where he walks down a hallway you can't see from the image, but as he's going down the hallway, he remembers, and you can see it kind of like constructing as he's doing it. So I thought that was
a little bit of like Eternal Sunshine, a little bit.
Yeah,
that's cool.
I thought it was very well done. The story was pretty compelling. It definitely was an emotional story. I think that might have been one of the better ones of this season.
Yeah, give me a quick yay
yeah.
or nay on the USS Callister one, because I'm obviously it's a sequel to I think one of my favorite
Yeah.
ones. Did it work? I mean, keep it vague, but like, is it a good
Yeah.
sequel or is it
I think it is. It provides a little follow up and some resolution to the first one. I remember watching the first one and for most of it being like, and then at the end I was like, oh, okay, that's cool. And I think this one takes from the that's cool to the yeah, right. That's that's good. So I thought it was good. You definitely obviously have to see the first one to kind of get what's going on, but yeah, I can understand why they made this their like finale for this season because
Cool.
it kind of pulls off of the previous one and builds on it.
Cool.
And then the last one was a little. I don't want to give away too much, but it explores some of the characters from a previous episode and kind of ties them back into this one, and the concept of is something being emulated on a computer real and sentient, and should it be respected as much as a human in that regard and stuff like that. So that was interesting one as well. Again, maybe not my favorite of the season, but one of the stronger ones. So overall, I think it's definitely worth the watch, especially if you've enjoyed previous seasons of Black Mirror. Like I said, I think it's a improvement over the last one or two seasons they've had. So if you're kind of looking for a reason to go back, maybe it's worth checking this out if you had previously maybe skipped a season or two.
Yeah, cool. Sounds good. Yeah, I'm definitely excited to watch more of them when I can. But all right, Kyle, we're gonna go back to HBO for yours.
All right, the Righteous Gemstones. Honestly, I was curious to see where the season was going to go because I thought at the end of last season there was really no more conflict. Where's the conflict going to come from? And so what they've done is they've taken the gemstones and now they've added Megan Mullally, who's a former friend of the family, and she's now shacking up with Daddy Gemstone, who's, has a crisis of conscience and is living like in a boathouse in Florida somewhere or something. And they bring him back and he starts hooking up with Megan Mullally's character. And the rest of the family is trying to stop them from having it happen. And so that's really where the main conflict is coming from. I would say there's really no kind of B storyline. I feel like this is what's happening. Um, an interesting starter episode. They went to like a one with
Civil
Bradley
War.
Cooper.
I
He
heard it was like a
was,
flashback, right? Because I
yeah, it
feel
was
like every season they do sort of a flashback, but this one went way back.
yeah. So they
Yeah.
went back to the original like gemstone, how gemstones came to be, I guess,
Yep.
in
they got
this
into the religion. Yeah.
religious world. Um, so it was a interesting episode, very different,
Yeah.
but still had its moments. What I'll say as a whole for this show is like I don't think it's as strong as it was in the because when it's new and you're talking about these religious fanatics and they're making fun of it for the first time, there's something novel about it. But now we've kind of gotten used to the shtick, so now they're coming up with random stuff that's just it sometimes hits, sometimes doesn't, but there are moments still where you're like, this is really good. And just the one that comes to my mind is the fact that BJ, who's married, is this character, he's married to the daughter of John Goodman's character. He becomes a paraplegic after getting injured doing competitive stripper pole dancing. And it's just the most absurd thing of all time. So it's funny. It's funny what they do with some of the characters. It's funny what they have the characters get into. Do I think it's as strong as the first season? No, but I think it's still an entertaining watch.
I will follow that up with the Righteous Gemstones has always been a powerhouse in character writing and acting. and has always fallen short, in my opinion, on the actual story.
Mm.
And I think that
Yeah.
this season really distills that down into, the story is kind of like, and then the characters are still really
Yeah.
strong, and their outfits and their mannerisms, and even down to, there's multiple flashbacks in this one, which I think it might be what I think of as a kind of a B storyline, is the
Yeah.
flashbacks building up to and where they're going to converge. Even down to the kids who play the children of Eli in the past, phenomenal. They're picking up all these mannerisms of the adults, and like it's
Yeah.
nothing. Like it's nothing. They're really, again, really a powerhouse in acting and presentation and wardrobe of these characters.
Nice. Maybe one day I'll finally get on the gemstone train. But all right. I'm gonna go somewhere else. We've talked a lot about HBO tonight. I'm gonna talk about an Apple TV Plus show, The Studio. I've seen 4 episodes so far. The fifth actually dropped today, so we're about halfway through the season. Um, it's about Matt Remnick, who's played by Seth Rogen. He's the newly appointed head of the film production company Continental Studios, and he's attempting to save the floundering company in an industry undergoing rapid social, economic, just changes. And at first, I was not going to watch this. I canceled my Apple TV Plus with Severance. But then I've heard great things about it, so I decided to give it a shot. And, I haven't been disappointed so far. It reminds me of Curb Your Enthusiasm. You got the stars playing versions of themselves, and you got the feel of the improv, even though I heard it's a lot less than the usual, for Rogan and his crew, because these takes are very long. Like, they have these really well done, like, similar to how the Hollywood movie The Player starts, and these long just takes, going around with the steady cam. And sometimes I'm pulled a little bit out when I see like Seth Rogen as Matt Remnick talking to Zac Efron, Charlize Theron, and it's like, wait, you started movies with them. It's like, well, wait a minute, like how's that's what happens sometimes on Curb, where you would have like, wait, you're an actor, but you're playing a character in this world, but then another time Ben Stiller is Ben Stiller in this world. It's like, well, who's it, so you have to like pull yourself a little bit out of it a little bit there, but I feel like there's a lot, and I've been hearing a lot about how this is like real Hollywood, like this is what people have to go through, kind of thing. And it's like, if when they would always talk about like, oh, politics, like people want it to be the West Wing. People think it's House of Cards. It's actually Veep. Like it's actually that kind of level of stupidity. And that's like I feel like with the studio, like this is supposedly really accurate. And there's a great second episode called The Oneer, and it's praising and making fun of oneers in as a one shot itself, as we see them trying to capture a oneer before the sunset. So it's like it's playing on these levels of you know and it's like an ode and just a love letter to film, and each episode is very individualized, which I'm a little off on with that. Like, sure, it adds, you can have these like fun moments, fun directors, fun cameos and stuff. But like, I almost kind of wish we had a bit more of a through line throughout the season. You can have these one episodes here and there, but maybe something on Curb, where you have an overarching thing of the season, whether it's the pitch, development, production, or release of a movie. Maybe it's this Kool-Aid movie that we talked about in the first episode, this Kool-Aid Jonestown movie, and it's like, oh, maybe like that's the movie that they're trying to get through the whole season while they have these other meetings and projects along the way. Because like, I think that would really show the process and the pitfalls. And instead we got like one of these episodes with like Ron Howard. He's doing a period piece called Alphabet City, and the whole time I'm also thinking it's like in this world, after the first episode where you're talking about the Kool-Aid movie and it has to be commercial and you can't do a movie with Martin Scorsese, this Alphabet City movie would not be made in this world. It's this big budget period artsy film. So it's like the central premise already from that you established in episode one feels a bit off. So it's kind of like, but you wanted this because, X, Y, and Z, Ron Howard and Anthony Mackie, and you wanted that storyline and the note and stuff like that. So it's like you have to suspend it a little bit here and there, but I would love if it was a little bit more of a through line throughout each episode. But so far I'm still enjoying it and seeing like the peek behind the curtain. But I know Kyle, you've seen a little bit of it. What do you think?
Yeah, I think it's okay. I think it's entertaining. I don't love it because I think you just describing it, having some kind of through line would do the show a lot more because I'm like often like, what's this show about? Are we just like in the life kind of thing?
Yeah.
Are we just like uh kind of living a story that was once told by somebody, or it's just like so I don't know. I don't know in that sense, but I like the elements of the show. The
Yeah.
Warner episode was great. The
Yeah, the
production
cinematography
design
is
is cool.
really
Yeah.
good on this
The
show.
cinematography. I like some of the ancillary characters
Yeah.
like Ike Barinholtz's
Yeah.
character and Catherine Hahn. Like I love those two characters. Um, but I'm like wondering like what's happening here. I mean, it
Yeah.
is entertaining, but still.
Yeah, I do need a little
It's-
bit more from it. Like I enjoy it, but it's not like I would consider great. Like I need
Yeah.
something a little bit more. But
Yeah.
only 3 or 4 episodes in so far, so we'll see
Mhm.
how far it keeps going. But yeah, all right, that's it. That's all we got. That's our quick checks. That's all we got for this week's episode. And we've been doing like one a month at this point, but not so fast. About in a week and a half, we got another one coming for you. The summer box office draft. It's an annual tradition. It kind of helps us preview the summer movies that are coming. Um, you know, in just like 2 weeks, really. May 1st is like the unofficial start of
Whoa.
summer movies. We are circling Saturday, April 26th for a record date on that. For the exact time, and the exact date, make sure you're following us on social media, on Instagram. We're on TikTok as well at Dual Redundancy. You can find episodes of the podcast on YouTube, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, the blog. We're on Twitch, twitch.tv/Dual Redundancy. If you subscribe on YouTube, if you follow us on Twitch, you'll get alerts when we go live. Boom! It goes right into your email, or you can get it as a mobile alert too, so you know when we are recording live. And then yeah, if you obviously subscribe on the Apple Podcast, Spotify, it'll be right in your podcast feed as well. Um, I gotta thank both of you guys for joining me tonight, for talking all these different shows, squeezing this in on a Wednesday night. I couldn't do it without you guys. John directing the show, getting it up on Apple Podcasts and on YouTube. Couldn't do it without you guys.
You.
All right. Well, until next time, I'm David Allen,
John Berwick.
And I'm Kyle Bridger.
and that's all we got for Do or Done. See. Cheers, everybody.